Alright, so I'm going to walk around the level a little bit and show you what we got, I guess. So, up first, dual nail gun. It's a double nail gun. Regular nail gun. Same thing. Extremely placeholder art for the Maquito. I've not got around to disabling the quick melee for the Maquito. So it's still got it, and it looks weird. That is a pickup that will restore a full heart. If you've lost it, you can't pick it up if you haven't. Various ammos and things. Switches here are not part of the map geometry. They're a placeable object. I'm still working on them. They're not entirely finished, but they are mostly functional as switches that either flip once or flip repeatedly. Alright, this one here is the laser cannon railgun thing. And final weapon we have implemented here is the scattergun, shotgun, whatever we're going to end up calling it. 3 shots and then it reloads. Graphic equalizer, or not graphic equalizer, spectrum analyzer on the bottom. As you can see, every time you fire it, the volume slider goes up and the toggle switches on the side toggle through binary representations of the number of shots you've fired. And then it reloads. As you can see, there's currently nothing stopping you from spamming the door buttons, and it just screws up the animation when you do that. But once it's done, the doors resume functioning, so it doesn't break them. It doesn't permanently break them, at any rate. More investigation into their behavior is needed, I suppose. We've got various health pickups. The largest one will restore half a heart if you pick it up and you need one. These potions here will overheal you. Any health over 100 just cools back down. Bug I have occasionally with the doors that I cannot for the life of me track down is sometimes the very first time you open a door plays the closing animation and then never does that again. I cannot figure it out, and it doesn't appear to follow a pattern, so it's difficult to reproduce. We've got lava here, which if you stand in it, it will hurt you. That does not need to be set in map. Any floor with the lava texture will just do that on its own. As you can see, you flash red when you do that. If you go into third person and stand in it, you flash red in third person as well. Well, apparently I don't remember what the armor is, so we're gonna cheat and just give the armor instead of spawning it, so I guess you don't get to see what it looks like in this video. While you have armor and take damage, damage flashes will be green instead. It's a nice visual indication of your armored status. Armor just soaks up damage 1 for 1. It's pretty easy. As you see, this gun does in fact explode and hurt you. It will take a... If you absorb the full damage of the explosion, it will bring you from full health down to 0 health in basically one shot. However, it's still relatively useful since you've got some hearts to fall back on. You can safely use this at close range a couple times if you know you've got a source of hearts somewhere. It's also very useful for rocket jumping. As you see, half a heart, and the rest of those just heal you normally. At some point, the flashes or the color cycling around this will be handled by a screen space shader. That way, the flashing that's currently on the HUD, as well as the flashing of the pickups, will be synced up. At some point, once I figure out a good way to implement it, the white outline around the ammo icon will also be color cycling. I have a couple ideas, but none of them are super great. So we'll see how that goes. A thing to note, though, is if you take damage and then or if you take damage right before, or I think the tick that you become invulnerable, like you currently are, once you stop being invulnerable, it will finish your damage flashes, and I need to figure out how to make it clear that whenever you enter in, or whenever you become invulnerable. Yeah, see? Lily pads pick a random rotation when you place them. Grass kind of randomly spawns at map load, but only on the grass texture here. All blades are individually placed. And as you can see around like the water, it's especially noticeable, but for the dirt here and the grass over here, we are manually doing some fake ambient occlusion. It ends up looking super, super nice if you do it this way, and I'm not aware of any way to do this programmatically yet. So you can see here we have geometry without it. Here we have geometry with it. That'll be a final detailing pass. That won't be something that'll be in the levels until they're basically ready to be pushed out the door. Under the hood things to note, this runs at, or the maps are all at half the size of a standard map for this engine, so there is some extra code in here to mess around with friction values and basically get a coefficient of static friction versus just a coefficient of friction going to make the movement less slippery. Since normally the movements the slidiness of the movement is fine when you're larger, but as soon as you scale it down, you'll slide more relative to your current size, and it does not work at all. But scaling everything down in size means that the resolution of textures is a lot lower, making them a lot easier to make. And in theory, it means the levels are easier to make as well. At the very least, we won't ever have to worry about exceeding engine limitations in regards to level size. That's about all we've got for not under the hood stuff that I can show in a video of running around my test map.